Hey guys, it's D. Anyone can find anything on the internet these days. That's the sad truth, including your full legal name, your personal email, home address, phone number, and even your relatives. This information is accessible because of data brokers who profit from selling your information to robocallers, telemarketers, spammers, and anyone else that wants to learn more about you. That's why I'm excited for our sponsor today, Aura. Aura will identify these data brokers that are exposing your information and automatically submit opt-out requests on your behalf. They'll even opt you out of junk mail and telemarketing lists. You can use our link, aura.com/teamhouse, to try 2 weeks for free and see how many of those data brokers out there are really sharing your information. You can also find the link in the description, or you can scan the QR code right in the screen. Aura also monitors your emails and passwords to see if they were involved in any data breaches exposed in the dark web. And if they were, they give you recommendations on what to do to take care of it. This is the best part. Also, Aura's app also features a VPN, password, real-time credit and identity theft monitoring, internet parental controls, and protects your devices from malware. Aura has almost every single internet safety tool you'll ever need inside of one app. So let Aura do the hard work of keeping you safe online. If you sign up right now with Aura, we'll give you a 2-week free trial with our link. You really will be shocked at how much of your personal information Aura finds exposed over these next 2 weeks. Go to aura.com/teamhouse to start your free trial today. You can also hit the link in the description of this video, or you can just scan that QR code. That's aura.com/teamhouse for 2 weeks free today. Thanks, Aura.
The Team House with your hosts, Jack Murphy and David Park.
Really proud of, operationally, was when Tabqa Airbase and Tabqa Dam.
Yeah, so walk us through that.
Yeah, so there came a night where we were posturing to conduct operations south of the Euphrates, behind enemy lines.
Right.
You know, we're going into the Hornet's Nest. And it was almost like we're going to draw straws, man, and who's going to do this, pull off this little operation, you know? And I was like, no drawing straws. If it's ridiculous and you're going to die, I'm going to do it. So I always had the mentality of, if the sergeant major was standing right there and say, stack on that door, and I'm not the first one through that door, I'm going to feel real bad for anybody who gets injured inside. So I think we had multiple aircraft. Maybe 5 aircraft spread across, and we had about 5 lifts. And
These were Ospreys?
Nope, they were 47s. There was a report that said Ospreys, but they were definitely 47s because you can't fit a Hilux on an Osprey. Sorry. So we had these. They were going to tell us, hey man, you're going to take all these SDF dudes and you're going to load them on the aircraft, and then you're going to go behind Tabqa, a very populated city with skyscrapers and thousands of people living there, and they're armed to the teeth, and they're very angry, and they're very desperate, and there's a lot of foreign fighters there too. And you're going to go across this, and we're going to fly you, and they might have anti-aircraft guns, and we're going to go over the Euphrates, man, and you're going to be inside this Hilux that's ratchet strapped down to it, and let me tell you, okay, I don't even know where to start talking about. Okay, I'll start talking about how the Hilux is kind of organized in this aircraft. So you can only have one Hilux in there.
Per 47.
Per 47, as we're flying across. You might be able to fit 2. We didn't chance it.
Right.
So we had one in there, and they said, okay, you got to load all these SDF guys in there with you. Now, I had some R5s. I said, well, have any of these guys ridden in an aircraft? Have any of these guys been in blacked out conditions? I was like, well, I have a problem with them being armed. And they're like, well, how do you suppose that? I was like, we either put the guns there first or put them there first and get the guns over there, because I don't want an ND while I'm inside there.
Right.
Especially with as many people as there are, or we have them locked up and we break the lock once we get to where we're going. They went with the option of, at the end of the day, at the end of the lifts, now they'll have weapons, which is dang, man, we're going to leave these guys out in the wind. We have to conceal them. So this is a very difficult operation. And to this day, when I think about it, I was like, I'll wake up in the morning, not in sweats, I'm having a PTSD fever dream.
It's
I'll wake up
anxiety.
I'll wake up like this, dude, that was such a bad idea.
Yeah.
It was like a what did I do last night? Like to this day, randomly, I'll be like, what? I'm not against it, but like, dude,
Yeah.
what was that? So, you know, and I'm not the only guy, but while I'm doing this, I'm by myself essentially. So what my job was to sit inside the Hilux. The Hilux would be ratcheted down to the floor of the 47, which is this big bus of a helicopter. Some people call it a Chinook, but it was a very special Chinook. We would be in there. There would be the SDF guys in the back in the bed, and there would be some SDF guys in the vehicle with me. And now all the Hiluxes were manual shift. And that's a very important thing, that they're manual instead of automatic, and you're in blacked out conditions. So one thing is these are up armored Hiluxes too. And when you're on the 47, the skin of the aircraft is not enough to open the door. The window, since it's up armored, might only go down an inch or two. And you're probably not going to kick out that glass. So I'm like, we're going over the Euphrates. If this thing goes down, I'm drowning. I'm dying. If we get shot out of the sky and somehow we survive, I'm at least going to die inside the Euphrates or Lake Assad. So I guess it crosses the mind of like one of the crew chiefs is like, hey, you might need this. And he gives me a bottle of spare air. I'm like, what's this? He's like, that's 10 minutes of air in case you go down. I'm like, so suffer for 10 more minutes?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, in this, like, I'm not getting out of this if we go down, man. And so, the difficulty is, there's a number of difficult points, right? Because now I'm getting up in the sky, and there's a guy next to me trying to flip the lights on the whole time. Like, whoa, what's happening? He has no idea we're in the sky. He has no idea we're airborne. This is a guy who's never flown in a plane, never flown in a helicopter ever in his life, and doesn't speak the same language I am. And I have to be like the rude American, the brute that's like, get your hands off, don't touch my radio, like, I'm like, dude, like, don't touch that because you're going to flick on these lights and we're going to be, compromised.
Yeah.
And shot out of the sky, and then all those like revelations, they might come true, or anyways, we'll get to the other side, and what people don't understand is like some people don't even know how to drive stick, especially from my generation. You know what I mean? Like, I drove stick, but I don't drive stick all the time. So I'm like, yep. Luckily, I've been driving manual inside of Syria to this point, so I was like back to being used to driving. But the thing is like, you have these big twin turbine engines on a 47. So you can't hear your RPMs. And you can't see your RPMs because you're blacked out. Like, completely. And, maybe down the line we had a better solution. But, like, thinking on the feet, we didn't have a solution to how do we illuminate this dash and get to where we need to be. So you have to turn that car on, and then you can't even tell if it's on. And then you have to like, okay, am I shifting into, first gear, second gear? What's that? I got to go off the ramp. I have to look at this guy to tell me, hey, you're clear. Shackle's clear. Go, go, go. You drive off, and now you're off on your own with a bunch of, Kurdish guys in your vehicle, and you're driving through Tabqa towards Tabqa Airbase. And drive off and park the car, leave it neutral, car running, and just say, you're on your own. We'll be back. And the way that I cleared mines was I would just run down my tire tracks back to the bird. And so I'm like by myself in a very like crazy environment where there's still a very large ISIS flag visible from where I'm running from, like running past like this huge like, dude, that ISIS flag was like what you would see it at a football game. Like, that's how big it was.
Like, the open source intel has not updated quite yet that you're there.
Yeah, exactly. And we're running back and forth, and we do this a few times. And then the last time that we do it, I did it with a forklift. So I infilled with a forklift. So this is like
What's the forklift for?
To bring the kickers full of ammo and weapons to them. So I'm driving a forklift back and forth to the same bird that's just sitting there while there's JSOC guys on the bird watching me with their rifles, like hanging out like, dude, like hurry up, And the
Get
good
that
thing,
forklift moving.
yeah, the good thing is like, and then I left the forklift there. The good thing was I was a very fast runner, so some of the guys were like, "Dude, you run really fast." Because the guys I was like hauling ass back to the barrel, I was like, and that was probably faster than I ever ran in my life. Because I was like, just get the hell out of here, because I'm all by myself, really. And I brought the weapons to those guys and dropped them off. Then we headed back, and then so I'm thinking like, we headed back to our staging area. Where all of our mortar stuff is and everything. And then my team leader that was in, with that JSOC element, he comes over, he's like, Les, we're going to hit it now. And I was like, well, dude, we're doing the damn now? Like, I thought I was going to be able to take a nap or something. He's like, nope, we're going to hit it now. So that was like an all-night affair. That's like, you're tired. You're kind of sleepy by doing it. And all that, those wind sprints and kit and all that. And then I get back to wherever, and we drive out to the dam. So we're Simo hitting the airfield and the dam the same day.
Holy shit.
And on our way to the dam, man, it was like one of the most epic things I've ever seen. And maybe guys seen it in Iraq, like in the start of the Iraq stuff, like, but it was all out war. It was like you're seeing bullets flying everywhere, all over that city, trying to shoot things out of the sky, trying to shoot across the river, trying to shoot from the dam towards our position as we're driving in. We're seeing HIMARS like, boom, buildings just goosh, 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 goosh. Aircrafts, boom, bombs from, and then marine artillery going off, doosh, doosh, doosh. Explosions everywhere, gunfire everywhere, vehicles crashing. You're like, dude, this is pure chaos. And we get to like our MFP area, and he's like, this dude who was a sergeant major was like, Les, it's your show. Go inside that vehicle, talk to the guys in there, tell them what you want. And dude, it was like freaking a Rainbow Six video game. I walk in there, there's French dudes in there, there's Brits in there, and then I got my dudes with me. And then there's some Air Force dudes I trained on how to use a mortar. And I said, guys, this is the game plan. I said, okay, let's go. Let's put it in effect. We put the game plan in effect, and it was very successful. We were dropping rounds on everything. There was like, and this is like my joke with the SEALs, is because there was a river crossing with Zodiacs similar to that other.
Yeah, we've talked about it here, yeah.
There's like 2 SEALs or something that come into country just to do this, fill these Zodiacs up. And they like, they had all these like SDF special like commandos with them that were crossing the river. And then I remember being on like a radio or something and like talking and being like, hey man, like what's going on? Like you guys stop crossing. They're kind of like stop in the middle. And the guys had said something like, hey, like the water level's like really low. Like we're having trouble moving the boat. And I was like, can you get out and walk? He's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, get out and walk. Like, that's how funny it was. Like, the guy was just like, all right, fight the plan. Like, the plan was get across on a boat. It's like, no, dude, fight the fight.
Right.
Like, if you can walk, just walk across. And so at whatever portion that they were at where they did make it and it got shallower, there was still water, but it's like they were able to walk, which sucked, too, because it was very cold, the water. And those guys got across. And I remember what people don't realize is, like, the level of like technical proficiency that was undermined about the mortar platoon. Like I go back and I'm like, I cannot be that smart again. I cannot be that much of a multitasker, because what I was doing was I had my controls on a drone. I was flying a drone, controlling at least 4 different guns, giving fire commands to 4 different locations, tracking 4 different locations of enemy movements, while also keeping an eye on like this other element that's like crossing the river. I'm like, okay, I need to support them with fire at this time. Hey, number 3 gun, lay on, blah, 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 blah. Take 2 gun, 8, at my command, 3 gun, stand by, 2 gun. All right, hey, target of opportunity. We have an armored vehicle moving into this intersection. Lay onto this intersection located at, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, roger, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me know when gun is laid. All right, okay, that vehicle's moving at 45 miles per hour from a south to northeast azimuth. He's going to be at that intersection about this time. I have a 56-second time of flight. I need to fire roughly about this time. Two gun, go hot at 01 or like, 06:45. And then like, boom, he fires and I slew back my camera over here to the SDF commandos that are moving up the beach trying to go hit some, to secure like some causeway thing. I don't really know all the terms of everything, but they were going to secure their objective and I had to make sure they were safe. And like, it was almost, the funny thing is like, we were like the snipers going like, hey man, like I got your six, like in the movies, but instead we're shooting mortars while these guys are bounding through.
Yeah. And unlike in, past conflicts, you're watching it in real time on the drone feed.
Yeah. Watching it in real time. And I'm seeing rounds impact across the river from where I'm standing. So then like, I'm like, fire, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, oh, this is going to be sweet. Does he hit the tank? And dude, there was like one shot that definitely went through whoever the tank commander was and went through his body. And then whatever ammo he had in there went off. So it was like secondaries and a rooster tail went through. Wow. And then the turret of the tank just popped off, like, plop. Just went off to the side. Man. And I was just like, I radioed another mortar team that's by. I was like, hey, you assholes, that one's mine. Like, I just said that shit, like, fucking with them.